Chapter 1. This is the story about determination and a goal achieved.
Zoos are the last best hope against a rising tide of extinction. I just look around and I think what an amazing thing that the zoo is. That has really been a success story that we can all be proud of.
Tigers at the Fort Worth Zoo live in 60-year-old cages. Although the cats cannot break out, the cages are rusting and the concrete crumbling.
The city had sort of maxed out on what they could do for the zoo. If you're talking about a highway versus improving the zoo, the highway will go first.
The zoo directors here say that unless the city of Fort Worth comes up with the money to take those bears and cats out of the cages and put them into a natural habitat, that they'll just have to put those animals somewhere else.
A lot of people cared about the zoo and did wonderful things for almost a century, but they had moved on. So by the time of my first visit, much was left in disrepair or forgotten. We walked in the zoo and it was very depressing. It made me upset. And Lee then said to me, well, maybe you should do something about it. And I don't think at that point he knew actually what he was getting into.
She is passionate, she's determined.
And I just go blowing in there with my passion.
And woe to anyone who tries to stop her.
Being from San Antonio, she needed some local partners, and she approached a couple of friends, Kit Moncrief and Whitney Moore. They were all in their early 30s and probably not fully aware at the time what they were getting into, and literally began her effort to focus on saving the zoo.
So it was still city-run, and the city employees were out here, and there was a very large, beautiful oak tree. And Ramona says that they're going to cut that tree down. She runs over and she puts her body, her very pregnant body, between herself and the chainsaw, and she says, "You are not taking this tree. You're going to take me before you take the tree." And that's kind of the way Ramona's been about the zoo from that point forward.
It's my purpose. It's my passion and my purpose. I have the privilege to build upon the legacy of people who came before me, like Harry Tennyson and Jimmy Harrison. And of course there's Kit, my accomplice in the beginning of this crazy journey. In fact, when I asked Lee how he thought I should start on my zoo plans, he said, "Call Harry." Harry said, "Call my daughter Kit," and I did. The rest is history.
Conservation wasn't that big of a deal, and people didn't understand how important it was to save these species. And I think, education was our biggest challenge, and to educate the city council and the city to show them how important it was.
I think people were settled, and they were used to it, and it was a zoo they grew up going to, and so I think that's where a little bit of the resistance came from to privatizing it.
The zoo's new master plan would double its size. There's been a lot of opposition, and the final decision has yet to be made.
The hearings were the council was packed, and people would come to the meetings, they would yell, and it was just hard to get the message across of, this is really going to be good for the city, good for the zoo.
Miss Bass never wanted to give up. She said, oh no, she was convinced, oh no, they'll see this, and finally did, and it's been beautiful.
Finishing touches at the Fort Worth Zoo are getting approval from some zoo residents.
When we first took over, the very first thing we did was the primate house. Then we did the tigers. And then the first real biggie was Texas Wild. Then we did MOLA, Museum of Living Art. It is the sort of envy of every herpetologist in the world, actually.
I think the Fort Worth Zoo is the city's jewel. I guess the thoughts were, if you dream it, it'll happen. So it was just really a dream come true.
And seeing other people just be wowed, and to know that, yes, it was done right.
When I think of the Fort Worth Zoo, I think of Ramona, because she is the Fort Worth Zoo. Look at the children's faces. Look at the children feeding the giraffes and with great joy, or seeing an animal they would never see. And golly, that's what she's given them. It's her gift.
What's truly amazing is that after 30 years, that enthusiasm has not waned one bit. Walking around in the mud and dirt, working on construction projects, on every new exhibit we do, she is truly tireless and has changed and benefited this city for generations to come.
I think it was Ronald Reagan who quoted, "It's amazing what you can get done if you don't care who gets the credit." I feel proud of what we've all done together.